every wedding I've ever been to, they tend to get through the speech and raise the glasses at the end. I'm going to change that. Luke, can you give me the first slide, please? So if you recognise yourself on this photo, stand up. Can everybody stand up? 1989. Why 89? That's the year that Sophie and Richard were both born. On the 20th of September, Richard was born. Luke, can you give me the next one? There he is. 1 month later, Sophie came along. Luke, and there she is. Who's that handsome chap? Shall we show you some more photos of them in their growing up years? Luke, just one at a time. There's Sophie, the first car. Next one, please, Luke. That's the first house. Next one, Luke. There's Rich. First day at school. Everybody like Jane's hairstyle? That's taking us back. Next one. Sophie's first day at school. Next one, Luke. Nice one of you, Rich. I had to go through some albums to pick some of these photos out, let me tell you. Okay, next one, please. That's Sophie as a Maypole girl in the Bourneville Maypole. Okay, Rich. There she is. A brownie. Have you spotted her? Oh. Next one, please. There she is. A ballet queen, Sophie. I think we might have another one of Rich. Funnily enough, this is his first kit, claret and blue. Here he is. I had to go through the archives to find that, Rich, but you don't know how delighted I was when I found it. Okay, next one, Luke. Sophie in her trampolining days. And next one, please. Now, you all know Sophie likes her food. This is the early days. I don't know what's on that plate, but it didn't last very long. Okay, Luke. Okay. So this is Sophie's first day at senior school at Lighthall. So, 20 years after they were both born would be when they actually met. They nearly didn't meet because Sophie applied for a job abroad and she didn't get that job, but fate took over and she met Rich and they met at the Bamboo Club in Birmingham. They had a great night, exchanged mobile numbers and subsequently started dating, or courting as we would call it. After some time, Soph told us a little bit about Rich, which was very interesting. She wasn't really up on a football, and Richard had said to her that he's a stand-in for Sergio Aguero. He'd also told her that he was a top model for Top Man, did appearances for Sergio when Serge couldn't make it. So there was a whole list. So when she said she was bringing him home to meet us, we got very, very excited. So this is actually what we were expecting. There's me and Serge. Sadly, this is what we got. Luke. This was Richard in his modelling days. Mr. February, I believe. Next slide, please. Here he is. Pardon? Keep going, yeah, okay.
What did you assume she'd say yes?
So, I'd said yes. We had another man hug, and that started Richard blobbing again. So on we go to the day he actually proposed to Sophie. We went on a family holiday on a cruise around the Caribbean, and that's where he decided he was going to make his proposal to Sophie. And he decided he was going to do it at one of the stops we had, and that happened to be the Cayman Islands. So one day Rich said to me, I'm going to do it today. Do me a favour, I just need a bit of a hand. I said, okay Rich, what do you want me to do? He said, well, let's go for a walk along the beach. So we made our excuses, went for a walk along the beach, and he found the perfect spot and wrote his message of love in the sand to Sophie, his proposal message. And he said, right, I need you to stay here. I'm going to go and get me bride-to-be. I said, okay, Rich. So I found a little spot at the back of the beach, a little sort of bush, if you like, and stayed there. And every 30 seconds, I was like a peeping Tom coming up with the camera to see if anybody was coming along. Eventually, they came along. There was a few tourists around. People realised what was going on. I had to stop people treading over Richard's message in the sand. But eventually, we got there, and Rich got down on one knee and proposed his love and asked Sophie to marry him. Luke, I think we got the picture. So, out came the peeping Tom from his observation post, camera in hand. By then we had an audience who realised what was going on. We had Jack, Julie and Alex, who knew exactly what was going on, running up the beach. The tears were flowing all around, as you can imagine. Applause from the holidaymakers. A lovely moment, I think you'll all agree. So before I focus on Sophie, Rich, I'd like to welcome you into our family in a very modern way. Rich, you'll be delighted to know you're being welcomed into the family WhatsApp group. Also, Rich, I've got something for you here. I'm just going to get my cards off it, so please bear with me for a second. We all know Richard. If we know him well enough, we know he's a fisherman. So I've just brought him this. I don't know whether you can all read it.
Yes.
A fisherman lives here with the best catch of his life. I'll give you that later, Rich. Okay. So let's concentrate on Sophie. Sophie was an early walker and an early talker. There'll be no surprise to anybody here about that. Sophie was very nosy and always wanted to be involved in what was going on. No change there. I'd like to share a few stories and memories of Sophie's growing up years. From an early age, Sophie was mixing with the stars. Luke, here she is with Rosie and Jim and John, who steers the boat. Can you see Sophie there? There's John, who steers the boat, and Rosie and Jim. Now, the next story, I'll give you the nod, Luke, when I need the slide up, but the next story involves, really, me wanting to have a little party trick for when people came round, and there'll be a few people in the room that will remember this when I get a little bit further into this one. Basically, most people with their kids being about 2 years old will teach them how to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I wanted something completely different. So I said, I know, I've got it. I'm going to teach Sophie who the Prime Minister is. And the Prime Minister, when she was about 2 years old, was John Major. So I said to Sophie, who's the Prime Minister? She just looked at me. But once I'd said it enough times and told her it was John Major, she kept, okay, got it. Luke, there's John Major. So when somebody would come round, I'll use Tony for instance, I'd say, Tone, bear in mind Sophie's 2, ask Sophie who the Prime Minister is. He'd ask her and she'd go, John Major. That was my little party trick. Luke, can we have the next? Okay, this is actually a letter that I found. This is Sophie ran away from home when she was about 8 or 9 years old. I'll read it to you for those who can't see this. To Alex, Jack, Mum and Dad. Phone you when I find somewhere to stay. I'll be back for some more clothes. See you soon. P.S. I'm okay for money. I'll play my recorder on the street. Sophie. Okay, another very quick one that we're as parents, very proud of Sophie. She's a very bright and intelligent girl. At 14 years old, Sophie won the Lord Mayor's the Lord Mayor's Award for Maths. I think that deserves a round of applause. Bright girl. For those of you banked on a long speech, I'm doing well for you. I'm not too far off. Okay. I got two people I'd like to get them to stand up. Two of the bridesmaids, Ellie and Hannah, because this story involves you two. Okay, when they were about 14 years old, these girls, they were all at school together, and they all told their parents the same story. They were staying at somebody else's house overnight. They actually were at an all-night party in the park, and they were staying out on the booze, and it got to about 11 o'clock, and the parents were alerted, and these two led my daughter completely astray. There's no way Sophie would have been there. You could sit down. Okay, next photo please, Luke. Okay. Sophie entered her mum into a competition to be Woolies Mum of the Year. Do you remember, Soph? And she actually won, and the prize was opening Cottridge Woolworths. And there's Nana, very proud, dressed up to the nines. There's Grandad. Julie's proudest day of her life, Woolies Mum of the Year. Next slide, please, Luke. Sophie was at Keen Skier in her younger days, and there she is relaxing after a day skiing down the slopes of France or Austria or whatever, having a quick orange juice. Next slide, please, Luke. Okay, this is Ellie's actually just come back from Australia in the last couple of days, but we needed a photo of all the bridesmaids out one night, so Jack cleverly superimposed Ellie on that. We just thought we'd get Sophie's lovely sister Alex and all the bridesmaids a nice picture, and they went out one night. We've included you, Elle, even though you were miles away. Next slide, please. Okay, a lot of you will know, and probably most of you attended, Sophie's raised, along with friends here, Jade and Lauren, they've done a couple of charity balls and they've raised thousands and thousands of pounds. I think that deserves a big round of applause. Well done. Luke, I think the last slide. This is Sophie doing the London Marathon. She's done it twice. We're very proud of that. So finally, you've seen Sophie and Rich growing up. You've heard how they met, some of what they've done together. We're extremely proud of our lovely daughter Sophie. Emotional bit?
Go on, John.
We love her to bits. We think they make a great couple. I'm sure you all agree. And we hope you have a lovely, happy life together. Love you both, Sophie and Rich. Thank you very much.
Right, what time are we on? What time are we on? No, I just want to say thank you, John. That was a really touching speech. Can everybody hear me okay? Because I'm not a McAvoy, so I'm not as loud as them, okay? Just want to start off by saying, Sophie, today you look absolutely amazing and beautiful. Now, everybody has a Jaeger on the table, so just like you to load your Jaeger bomb. And again, just like John, I'll like to do a toast. You've really would have struggled, and you know we appreciate every little bit. And I must say big thanks to everybody that stayed at our Airbnb. So big shout out to those people. Also, Dave, was Dave? Was Grandad? Grandad, thank you for buying Sophie's dress. She looks absolutely amazing. Does not mean that I will not stop calling you a Yankee wanker. A special mention goes to a lot of people in this room also that came to Benidorm for mine and Sophie's stag do's. That's right, Sophie called it her stag do, which is basically a load of honest girls letting everyone know that they are not going to be ladylike at all for the whole weekend. But at least they were honest. The effort put in by the bridesmaids organising a second stag do in Birmingham also, which, you know, organised by you all. Big special mention to Chantal for getting everyone together. It was a little bit inconvenient because Blues are at home that weekend, and that's where I normally drink after the game, but it's alright. I won't mention no names, but let's just say someone had the word hot dog tattooed on our stag do. That speaks volumes for what happened that weekend. I also have a gift / reward for one special person in this room, as he spent most of his time in bed, in his slippers, and smoking his vape. So, guest, as you didn't really see much of Benidorm, I've got you a Benidorm DVD there, mate. Now, on a serious note, we really do thank everybody for coming Benidorm, and, you know, we had really amazing weekends. Now, Sophie, we met in a nightclub, as John touched upon, in Bamboo, which was quite ironic, because it is hard to find a photo of us without an alcoholic beverage in our hand and partying somewhere. I made Sophie my girlfriend after she put words in my mouth on a weekend away in Norwich. This was after answering the 101 questions Johnny Mac had for me as soon as I met him, which, as I remember, I did work at Cheltenham Festival that weekend. I was very hungry, and you could say after the 101 questions my McDonald's was cold after I hadn't ate all day. What stood out for me was him telling me he was a Villa fan, a massive Villa fan. And straight away when he says that, you're sort of on the back foot. Especially when he's going, he's in that photo there with Lee Hendry. He's in that there with John Gregory. And he's just going, I hate the Villa.
Keep that going.
So yeah, you could say the questions became a bit harder and more intense. Especially when he found out I was a Blue Nose. And now me and Sophie both share the same ambition and enthusiasm in life. I think it's fair to say. We both know what we have wanted since the day we met, which for Sophie was obviously one day making me a boyfriend. And at the time, after a few weeks, no doubt to be sat here one day marrying me. We were lucky enough to go travelling for 10 months, going to USA, Australia and Thailand. And had some great holidays since we've been together, sharing some unbelievable experiences. And I really couldn't share these moments with anyone else, apart from you, Soph. So I just want to thank you for, a great 7.5 years. Now, after travelling, we both said it was time to be more mature, career focused, and save for a house. With the odd holiday in between, of course. With certain people, we're like calling us Judith Chalmers every time we take ourselves at the airport. And when the question that when do we get married, and to Soph's disappointment, I got to decide, which was quite nice. I had the power in my hands.
Last time.
So as she doesn't get no input, when leap year passed, it was a sigh of relief for me. I knew I had 364 days for the perfect proposal in my own time. And I know you was gutted at Venice, but I know right now you're so happy I've done it in the Caribbean. So, Operation Proposal came in the Caribbean. I was with all the McAvoys. You know, it was time to. It was quite difficult. It was finding the right moment. You know, so I was travelling for about 7 days with this ring down my pants, and it started to get a bit uncomfortable. Now when it did happen, I think there was even tears from Julie Matt. Now Julie Matt only really cries when it's a silly TV drama, just like my mother. I won't mention Johnny Mack's tears at the proposal, or when I also asked for Sophie's hand in the Marston Tavern. There was quite a few tears from you that day, John, wasn't there? I think your memory's going. Now, on a serious note, Christmas Day 2015, you know, I asked the question to John, and I'll always remember Jack wanted to come to the pub, and I was like, Jack, just stay at home, mate, just stay at home. I must have thought, what a prick. So when I did ask the question in the Caribbean, you know, I was a little bit nervous, got down on one knee. I did find the right moment, and it was just a smooth build-up. But I still think it was more nervous that day being in the Marston Green Tavern, around a load of school lads that were in there, you know, some boxers, and then I've got Johnny Mack crying. But on a serious note, it was a great moment for me, a great moment for John, and it really did make the Christmas song 2015. So everybody asks, how do you feel about getting married? A lot of people here has asked me the question, and hand on heart, after thinking, shit, I'm getting old, I say it's the easiest decision I've ever made. As there is no other girl out there better for me than Sophie. She's my perfect match. Which leads me to a bit of a poem. Now, everybody that knows Sophie will know she loves a poem or a letter. I won't tell you about the abusive one she's sent in the past. So, for a change, I'll be a little bit soppy, means though it's our wedding day. That's right, a little bit soppy. And say I love you, Sophie Alexandra McCausland. Because every day I'm with you, you make me laugh and smile. The word wow came to mind when I saw you walking down the aisle. I love the way you are so fun. In addition, the fact you love being in the sun. You're caring and loving all of the time. Making you my wife, I'm on cloud 9. You're what you could say, easy on the eye. When you listen to Guest Next, it's just a lie. You get on so well with my family and friends. You even moved to Marston, which is really my ends. I love the way we can party together. Today I took vows to be there forever. We've conquered Thailand, Australia, and the US of A. I wouldn't change you in any kind of way. I know you would do anything for me in my life. I think I love you more since you've been my wife. So that makes us 1-1, because Sophie actually sent me a poem to my room this morning. Now, looking at the lives we lead, we're both very, very lucky to have been brought up by 4 great parents. They've always been there, and have been so supportive in everything we do. Even though my dad seen me probably getting a bit worse at football at the age of 17 and still took me to places. My mum would still take me to places, but I had a bad injury. Now the wedding is here. Guess there is only one thing for me and Sophie now, which is kids. Sorry, Mum. We've got about two more years of being selfish and a lot more holidays and getting photos with alcohol. As we're quite good at that, aren't we, Sophie, really? Holidays, booze. As everyone sees what me and Sophie, the power couple, are like together. Nobody really sees what we're like indoors. So what I've actually done is I collected a few videos. Now I've got these videos, but I've never intended to play them at my wedding. But at one point I thought, what a great idea. I'm going to show everyone what it's like in the Mac household. So yeah, my mum was my first victim when I lived at home, as I used to wind her up. So I have a video of 3 minutes, what really goes on in the Mac household. So anybody scared of spiders as much as Sophie will surely understand her reactions. Over to you, Luke.
Yeah. This way you have to drive 50 miles, Johnny. Yeah.
Children, cover your ears. Cover your ears for me.
I lost it. The spider's in there somewhere. That spider there.
Oh, Rick, shut up!
Look at that little bad boy. Think she loves the vinegar?
You could say Sophie's scared of spiders a little bit. So now I've done a poem, a video. I guess really it should be a song. So I'd like everyone to welcome Craig David. Just told you I was a wind-up merchant. On a real serious note, I thank every single person here for coming to the Matt wedding once again, and I hope everybody enjoys the night. I'm not winding you up when I do say after Guesty's speech there will be a 3-hour free bar and you can get spirits as well. Now, there is never a dull moment with me and Soph, and we are made for each other. I would just like to toast to more laughter, fun times, and to me being the boss as usual, because it ain't changing how we're married. Just cheers. Cheers, everybody. Now I can have a proper drink. Over to you, Mr. Guest, the best man.
Robbie, calm down.
17 minutes left. Who's got 10 minutes? Who's picked a number within 10 minutes to go? Because I don't think this is going to be 17 minutes, but we'll give it a shot. Wanna go halves, Mark?
Yeah.
Wanna go halves?
9 minutes.
That little Solomon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Firstly, I'd like to say the bridesmaids look absolutely beautiful, and also thank them for doing a great job in making sure that Sophie didn't change her mind at the last minute. I'd also like to say, Sophie, you look absolutely stunning. And Richard, well, we tried our best. To the ushers, parents of the bride and groom, a very big special thank you also. Secondly, I would like to thank my best mate Richard for asking me to be his best man. I'm truly honoured. And also he said if I do a good job, he's promised me that I can be his best man next time he gets married. Actually, I did a little research on the best man speech and it became evident that it should last about as long as the groom lasts in bed. So without further ado, Sophie and Richard. No, seriously. When it comes to choosing a best man, it's a difficult task and sometimes it's quite hard and it's something that people really don't want to do. He asked someone who was reliable, but they couldn't do it. So he asked someone that was good looking. Again, they couldn't do it. He asked someone who was good looking and charming. Yet again, they couldn't do it. However, once he asked me for the 4th time, I gave in and accepted. So this leads me on to tell you a little bit about me and how unfortunate I am to know Richard. I am Lee. I've pretty much known Richard from the day he was born. His parents, Jane, Nigel. They're my second parents. Also not leaving out his older brother Mark, who I also see as a brother. I'm a keen fisherman and golfer and share the love of Birmingham City Football Club just like Richard does. Yay! Eventually, for you, Jack. I was brought up by my late father, who I sadly lost in 2010. He thought the world of Richard, and I hope he's looking down on Sophie and Richard's special day now, and also laughing his socks off at this best man speech. You know, during this service today, I couldn't help thinking it's funny how history repeats itself. I mean, it was 28 years ago that Julie and John were sending their daughter Sophie to bed with a dummy. It's happening all over again today. At this point in my speech, I'd like to have told you about the stag do, but the law of the stag does not allow me to do this. And besides, Richard's solicitor has advised caution until the charges are fully investigated. However, with the interrogation of Luke Mason and myself, was able to establish that the little red number that you wear to bed, Soph, really gets Richard going, apparently. It's just a shame that the 4 inches he confessed to having might not be an equal input. I I would also like to say one of the funniest moments of the stag was Richard's father Nigel, at the ripe old age of 40, having his first tattoo. This could only happen on a Richie Mac stag do. This brings me nicely on to Richard. He was born on the 20th September 1989, which was a Wednesday. Number 1 in the charts was Black Box with Ride on Time. The only other event I found of any importance in this month was the introduction of free family planning. Now, I wouldn't say Richard was an ugly baby, but Jane only had morning sickness after he was born. He was a slightly slow starter as well. At play school, he was different from the other 5-year-olds. He was 11. I remember one day sitting in Jane and Nigel's awaiting Jane's amazing cooking. Pizza was on the menu. When Jane asked Richard, would he like his pizza cut into 4 or 8 pieces, Richard's reply was, you better make it 4, Mum, because I'll never manage 8. Richard, he has a keen love of football. He used to watch me and his brother with all our pals from his bedroom window, forming what we thought could be the next Real Madrid of our time. It was almost certain that Richard would have had a successful time in the sport he loved. From an early age, it was apparent he had a right foot that could potentially take him places. Unfortunately, as time went by, this same right foot was to aid him getting to the pub and back. Throughout his life, I've observed that Richard is very consistent. I must have played over 1,000 cards games with him, and he's cheated in every single one. All jokes aside though, Richard, you're a very special person to me. He's a true friend who has been there through the tough times, and with his positive influence on life, has turned a dark day into a bright one. And on that note, it's come to the end, so who's close with the times?
Go Jack! Go Jack!
Everyone here wishes you both the very best for the future. We hope you have a long and happy lives together. We wish you all the luck in the world, and we are all thankful that we were able to celebrate this special day with you both. I would like everyone to be upstanding to the new Mr. and Mrs. McCausland.
Literally unbelievable.